Okay guys, so we have 3 pretty huge releases coming up, and of course you know what we're doing here today. I'm gonna make sure you guys are ready, prepared, and know all of the best methods and everything about these releases to give you the best chances when they roll around. So of course it is the Yeezy 700V3 Kyanite and of course the foam runners. Now listen, we have a decent amount of information right now on these Kyanites, and then when it comes to the foam runners, listen, it's getting me really nervous right now how they're going to release these. I mean, we don't have very much information, but we'll get into that in a minute. So the first thing you guys need to know is there has been a date change for the Yeezy 700V3 Kyanite. Previously, we thought it was going to release on the 27th. However, now it is going to be releasing on the 25th. That's this Thursday. If you haven't had a 700V3, I think this is a great colorway to go for as your first one. Like, this is probably my favorite other than the original. Like, this is super clean. It's pretty much a toned down version of the Azureth, and as you know, the Azureth is very blue, very bright, and very loud. So if you haven't tried the Yeezy 700V3 model, I think this is a very solid first colorway, and we're gonna make sure you get your chances. So first and foremost, where are these going to be dropping? Well, the best place of course is going to be Adidas, and Adidas again is on their crazy stuff where they're releasing it a few different ways. Of course, you have the Adidas website, you have the confirmed app, and you have the regular app. And like I've had to say with a lot of these hatter cops, the best way to figure out where it's dropping in your location is to go to adidas.com/Yeezy, and it will tell you on the website whether it's the confirmed app, the regular app, or if they're maybe doing a splash page. I think the most common way for most locations is going to be the confirmed app or the regular app through a Raffle. So the confirmed app is relatively new still for a lot of us here in the UK and other European regions, because we only just got it, I'd say a few weeks, maybe a month back, I can't really remember. Either way, essentially it's the blue icon Adidas app. You need to make sure you download and sign up to that, and then once you have the app and you're all logged in and everything, you'll find the Kyanites loaded up on the first page where you can enter a raffle. Thank God it's a raffle, unlike potentially the foam runners, but we'll get into that in a minute. All you gotta do is hit participate on the confirmed app for the Kyanites. Pretty much just make sure you have all of your information filled in, address, billing details, and of course payment method. Choose your size, and then once Thursday rolls around, it will notify you whether you win or not. And then that same raffle process pretty much exists for the Adidas app. So if it is an Adidas app raffle, not the confirmed app raffle, then it will be the exact same process. You're literally just participating in the Kyanite release, which again, it will notify you on the day these do release. Now for you guys out in the US, of course, you guys always have Yeezy Supply, which is another really solid place to go because it's Yeezy's official website. Therefore, they have a decent amount of stock. So again, when it comes to Yeezy Supply, you just need to make sure that you're there in the time frame that they tell you, because it's going to be a splash page where you pretty much are just waiting around in a waiting line or a queue until it picks you and you can choose your size and check out. And then of course we have plenty of raffles. There's a decent amount of places that are actually holding raffles for this pair. I mean, it's definitely not anything on the level where you can find 350s at, and like always, of course, I will link all of the raffles I can find down in the description if you guys want to enter up as many as you can, which again, if you want this pair of shoes, I always recommend, you know, doing your due diligence and entering as many as possible. So you've got Adidas, you've got Yeezy Supply, and you've got all of the raffles, and you know the date. So what's next? So real quick, before we move over to the foam runners, let's check the resale market on these Kyanites, just in case, you know, you miss out and you have to go that route. Well, let's just see how these are performing. How I would look at this is, if you remember the Safflower release that we had of the 700V3, they pretty much released a decent amount of pairs, and resale wasn't that bad at all, but it started climbing after that, and I would imagine these doing a very similar thing, because I think apart from the blue, it's pretty similar. So some of the sales on this has been what, 250 for a size 13, 220. Yeah, I'd say literally it is bang on between £220 and 250. So yeah, I think there is a high demand for this pair. It is still reselling for a decent amount over the retail price. And now we got to talk about the bigger problem, which is going to be the much tougher cop. And of course, it is the Yeezy foam runners. So the foam runners are a little bit tricky. We have 2 colorways that are going to be releasing on the 26th of March. That is this Friday. And it's tricky because they haven't put out any information yet. They haven't loaded it up. And if you remember what happened with the Yeezy 450s, they did a very similar thing and I really didn't like the release of those. So it's getting me a little bit nervous. They potentially could do a very similar drop to what we saw on those 450s. So what they actually did with the 450s is they gave us no information until the day before the release, and that's when they loaded them up to the Adidas Confirmed app and said that it was going to be a queue drop for the next morning at 7 a.m. or at least that time 7 a.m. was here in the UK. It's going to be different times for different locations. Now what they also did was they put a time limit on every other retailer that they could only hold raffles that were only open for 30 minutes. So like we saw on the Kyanites and plenty other Yeezy releases, is that the retailers are able to open up their raffles for, you know, a couple days prior to that actual release date. However, with the 450s, they were only allowed to open it for 30 minutes, and a lot of them did it either the night before or the morning of the release. So what that led to was a lot of people missing out for entering those draws, and of course focusing on the Confirmed app, which was a queue drop, and the queue drop for me personally, and I know a lot of other people, went horrifically. We just got a bunch of errors and we were never able to check out on those 450s. Now I'm not saying this is 100% guaranteed, however I'm gonna make sure that you guys are prepared for both options, whatever happens, whether they just pop up as a raffle or whether they actually go ahead with this queue drop. So if it's a queue drop, there's a couple things you can do to be prepared. The first thing is, of course, follow me on Instagram, because as more news comes out, I am going to be posting it up on my Instagram to keep you guys updated. Of course, that's a little bit harder over here on YouTube because I have to make a video, etc, etc. So I'll post it up on my story, whatever it is, at LBellSneakers. If you want to follow me, I will keep you guys up to date. And if you guys have any questions before the release or during the release, whatever it is, you can always DM me over on Instagram as well. I always try and help you guys out. So what they did with the 450s, and what I would imagine they do if this is a queue drop, is they're going to tell you what time these are going to be releasing the day before the actual release. So on the 25th, after the Kyanites drop, they will pop up on the Confirmed app and they will say tomorrow 7 a.m. set a reminder. So in the app you can set a reminder, however I would say just set an alarm and make sure you're up at least half an hour before the release, just to make sure, again, you got the sleep out of your eyes and you're ready for this one, because it is not going to be a walk in the park. So again, when it comes to that queue drop at 7 a.m. or whatever time it is in your region, you're just going to make sure that you hit participate, you choose your size, you have all your information filled out. How they do it with these queue drops is they're just going to pick you randomly out of a queue, and hopefully you manage to check out. So I would make sure you're quick, you're there, you're ready. If the errors start popping up, I didn't really manage to find a way around that. It's just unfortunate, and due to the high demand of these sneakers, I guess their apps are always going to be crashing. Now again, like I said, there may be raffles for this, and it may be the same as we saw with the 450s, where they just give the retailers 30 minutes for their raffles, in which case, again, it's another good idea to follow me on Instagram, because any information that I get, I will always put it up on my story or make a post, whatever it is, and I will let you guys know what places are holding raffles and to go enter them in as quick a time as possible. If it is a draw, you're just going to have to participate the exact same way that you would the Kyanites. Just make sure you have all your information filled out and just make sure you're ready to enter that draw, because they may just pop that up the day before the release as well. Now again, these would be dropping on Yeezy Supply as well, so if you're out in the US, just stay glued to Yeezy Supply, because I'm sure more information will pop up. I mean, hey, they could do that the day before as well. Listen, we are 3 days out from this release and we haven't got a clue of what retailers are going to be releasing them, and we haven't got a clue about how they're going to release them through the Confirmed app. So I'm just saying today, you know, stay on your toes, be ready, and of course, I'll try and give you as much information as I have at the moment. So I guess the last thing to do is check out the resale on these foam runners. I tell you what, it's pretty crazy. These are going to be reselling for a lot, which of course means you're going to get a lot of botters, resellers, and everybody try and get their hands on both of these colorways. I think both colorways are going to resell for a lot. They're both extremely wearable, and I think people are just very interested in the foam runners, which I think is very valid. It's an awesome pair of shoes that I think a lot of us want to get our hands on. So basically the takeaway from that is to really be on your toes for these foam runners, because if you don't get them for retail, unfortunately that resale price is either not going to be possible for you, or you're really going to hate paying that high price. But I think we've covered pretty much everything, as much information information as I have currently at least. And again, whatever comes up over these next 3 days, we're just gonna have to wait and see, and I will give you guys as much information as possible as well. But hey, that pretty much wraps it up. I want you guys to spam good luck down in the comments. Lord knows we are going to need it. Thank you so much for coming through, hanging out for yet again another video. Thank you guys for liking, commenting, and of course subscribing. I will see you guys in the next one, but until then.